In 331 BCE, a young Macedonian king stood on the Mediterranean coast of Egypt and envisioned something extraordinary. Alexander the Great, at just 25 years old, ordered the construction of a city that would bear his name, Alexandria. But this wasn't a one-time act of vanity. By the time of his death at age 32, Alexander had founded over 20 cities named Alexandria, spreading his name across 3 continents like a constellation of urban monuments. This wasn't just ego, though Alexander certainly had plenty of that. It was a calculated strategy of empire building, cultural diffusion, and immortality that would change the face of the ancient world forever. Today, we're exploring the fascinating phenomenon of conquerors naming cities after themselves, and how one man's ambition created a legacy that still echoes in our modern world, 2,300 years later. Alexander III of Macedon became king at age 20 after his father, Philip II, was assassinated. Tutored by the philosopher Aristotle, Alexander was educated in Greek culture, philosophy, and the arts, but he was also trained as a warrior from childhood. He inherited not just a kingdom, but a dream, his father's vision of conquering the Persian Empire, the superpower of the ancient world. But Alexander took that dream and amplified it beyond anything his father could have imagined. He didn't just want to conquer, he tried to unite East and West, to spread Greek culture to the ends of the earth, and to achieve glory that would rival the gods themselves. Ancient sources tell us that Alexander slept with a copy of Homer's Iliad under his pillow, seeing himself as a new Achilles destined for legendary greatness. Between 334 and 323 BCE, Alexander led his army on one of history's most remarkable military campaigns. He conquered the Persian Empire, Egypt, parts of India, and everything in between, creating an empire that stretched from Greece to the Indus River, over 2 million square miles. He never lost a battle, but conquest alone wasn't enough for Alexander. He needed something more permanent than military victory. Alexander understood something that many conquerors before and after him failed to grasp. Military conquest is temporary, but cities are forever. His strategy was revolutionary. At key locations throughout his conquered territories, he would establish new cities, garrison them with Greek and Macedonian veterans, encourage Greek settlers to migrate there, and name them after himself. These weren't just military outposts. They were sophisticated urban centers designed to serve multiple purposes. Militarily, they secured his supply lines and controlled strategic locations. Economically, they became hubs of trade, connecting East and West. Culturally, they were engines of Hellenization, spreading Greek language, architecture, philosophy, and customs throughout the conquered territories. The cities were strategically placed at important crossroads, fertile river valleys, key harbors, and defensive positions. They were built following Greek city planning, with gymnasia, theaters, temples, and agoras, the physical manifestation of Greek civilization transplanted into foreign soil. But perhaps most importantly, these cities bearing Alexander's name ensured that even after his death, his presence would remain. Every marketplace transaction, every legal proceeding, every religious ceremony in Alexandria reinforced who had conquered this land. It was a form of immortality through urban planning. Of all the cities Alexander founded, one stands above the rest: Alexandria in Egypt. Founded in 331 BCE, this city became one of the greatest metropolises of the ancient world and remains a major city today with over 5 million inhabitants. The location was chosen with characteristic brilliance. Situated on the Mediterranean coast, with access to the Nile Delta, Alexandria became the bridge between Africa, Asia, and Europe. Alexander personally helped design the city's layout, though he would never see it completed. He died 8 years after its founding. After Alexander's death, Egypt fell to his general Ptolemy, who made Alexandria the capital of his dynasty. Under the Ptolemies, Alexandria flourished beyond even Alexander's vision. The Lighthouse of Alexandria, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, guided ships into its harbor. The Great Library of Alexandria became the intellectual heart of the ancient world, housing perhaps 400,000 scrolls and attracting scholars from across the known world. Alexandria became a melting pot where Greek, Egyptian, Jewish, and other cultures blended. Greek philosophers debated with Egyptian priests. The Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, was created here. Euclid wrote his Elements here. Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference here. The city produced Cleopatra, the last Ptolemaic ruler, whose life intertwined with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Even today, Alexandria remains Egypt's second-largest city and its principal seaport, a living testament to Alexander's vision over 2,300 years ago. But Alexandria in Egypt was just the beginning. Ancient historians claim Alexander founded between 20 and 70 cities, though the exact number is debated. Let me take you on a whirlwind tour of some of the others. Alexandria Eshate. In modern-day Tajikistan, its name means Alexandria the Farthest, marked the northeastern limit of Alexander's empire. It was the most remote outpost of Greek civilization, a Hellenistic city on the edge of the Eurasian steppe. Alexandria, Arachosia, now Kandahar in Afghanistan, became a major center in Central Asia. The name, Kandahar, is actually a corruption of Iskandar, the Persian pronunciation of Alexander. Even today, over 2 millennia later, his name echoes in this war-torn city. Alexandria Ariana, in what is now Herat, Afghanistan, controlled the vital trade routes between Persia and India. For centuries, it remained an important Hellenistic center, where Greek and Buddhist art fused into the unique Gandhara style. Alexandria, on the Indus, near modern Karachi, Pakistan, marked the southern limit of his campaigns. Though Alexander's soldiers finally convinced him to turn back here, this city ensured Greek influence reached the Indian subcontinent. Bucephala, named after his beloved horse Bucephalus, who died in battle, showed that Alexander's naming ambitions extended beyond just himself. This city in Punjab honored its companion of 20 years. Most of these cities have been lost to time, their locations debated by scholars, their ruins buried beneath modern cities or desert sands, but their impact on history was profound. The cities Alexander founded became the vehicles for one of history's most significant cultural transformations, the Hellenistic Age. This wasn't simply Greek culture imposed on conquered peoples, it was a fascinating fusion where Greek and Eastern traditions blended into something new. In the cities named Alexandria, Greek became the common language of administration, trade, and educated discourse from the Mediterranean to India. Greek architectural styles influenced local building. Greek philosophy encountered Persian, Egyptian, and Indian thought, creating new schools of philosophy like Stoicism. Greek artistic styles merged with local traditions. In Bactria and Gandhara, we find Buddha statues carved in Greek sculptural styles. This cultural diffusion had lasting consequences. When the Romans conquered the Mediterranean, they inherited this Hellenistic culture. The New Testament was written in the Greek dialect, that spread through Alexander's cities. Early Christianity developed within communities connected by the trade routes that Alexander's cities controlled. Even modern cities show this influence. When you see a government building with Greek columns, you're seeing architectural language that Alexander's city founding helped spread globally. Democratic ideals, philosophical inquiry, scientific method, all were transmitted through these urban centers. Alexander's successors, the Diadochi who carved up his empire, continued his city-founding tradition. The Seleucid Empire alone founded over 60 cities. Antioch, Seleucia, and dozens of others followed Alexander's model, though they bore his generals' names instead. But let's step back and ask, why cities? Why was this Alexander's chosen path to immortality? Alexander understood that battles are forgotten, but cities endure. A victory might be remembered for a generation, but a thriving city could last centuries, each generation of inhabitants reinforcing the founder's legacy. Every child born in Alexandria, every merchant conducting trade there, every scholar studying in its libraries, all participated in perpetuating Alexander's name. Cities also created loyalty. The Greek and Macedonian veterans who settled in these new Alexandrias had a stake in the empire's survival. They married local women, raised families, and defended their new homes. These cities became self-sustaining anchors of Alexander's empire. There's also a fascinating psychological dimension. Alexander believed himself descended from Achilles and Heracles, demigods who achieved immortality through glorious deeds. By founding cities, Alexander was engaging in an act of creation, almost godlike in its ambition. He wasn't just conquering space, he was reshaping it, imposing order and civilization on the wilderness. Other conquerors would follow this model. The Romans founded colonies throughout their empire. Spanish conquistadors founded cities across the Americas. The British established cities from Calcutta to Melbourne. But none matched the systematic scope of Alexander's urban ambitions.